How's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to be building an Imperial Shuttle as a terrain piece for Star Wars Legion. I started with this sheet of 040 styrene, and I used Darth Vader and a Stormtrooper as a size reference. I got all this styrene from a plastic supply store near my house. The prices there are a lot better than if I was to get it at a hobby store. So keep that in mind next time you're looking for any kind of plastic. The main body of the ship I used styrofoam for, to add some strength, but also keep it super light. Use those paper rolls to get a more exact round edge. Hot glued it all together. That was the last of my hot glue, so going forward I had to be careful not to glue things together with the wrong kind of glue. Plastic cement will melt styrofoam and it won't stick to paper, but it's definitely the best thing to stick styrene together, so I had to work around that. Most of this I used a few photos for references, but wung it in other areas. So this isn't like a perfect scale model or like a set ready model, but perfect for a war game table. I did some side panels. And started building the landing gear. Always helpful to have little sprues from old models that you can use to build anything mechanical, really. Use this cross-stitching mesh, a piece of foam core to build the ramp. And drilled some holes in some sprues. Added styrene rods to make the hydraulic lift. Starting to come together. I used a piece of wood to be the support for the main fin, and I cut out some foam core. I peeled off the paper so that I could score lines that would show up after painting. I put one piece in the middle just to add a little bit more support and glued it all together. It was the same process for the sides. Then I kind of kit bashed these guns together. This part, I warmed up the styrene and then I molded it to a PVC pipe. I did burn my fingers multiple times doing this, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. Just find something round and cut it in half. It's not worth the risk. I added some details on the front. The wings are pretty fragile, so I decided to add some anchors out of styrene rod that I would glue in place. I used epoxy for the wings and for the mast. Felt like that would be the most secure. If you spray paint foam, most styrofoam, it will melt. So you can get around this by having about a foot of distance between the spray can and the foam. It won't melt it but I wouldn't recommend doing it on anything you had spent a long time detailing. You might ruin it. I appreciated all the panel lines and masked off everywhere I wanted to stay black. All of the paint I used was Vallejo. If you want the exact paint colors, you can look in the description, or just pause, go back and pause the video. I then filled in the panels, making sure to preserve the dark lines underneath. Some of the paint had made its way through the mask, so I touched that up. After that was done, I glued the wings in place. Touched up with a brush. Last thing I did was make these engines blue. And dry brushed the ramp. And there it is. This only took me a few hours to put together and paint, and it'll look great on any table. It's very affordable. I would highly recommend trying to build one instead of spending a lot of money on a to-scale model. I hope you enjoyed, found this useful. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.